I was the first person to install springs into a 4x4 SpeedCube. This is that story. So you might be surprised to learn that back in the early 2000s, SpeedCubes did not all come with springs. Back in 2008, one of my good online cubing buddies, Paul, and I were always racing 4x4 solves. One day, Paul told me about a new cube that he was getting way better times on, but he was being super secretive about the details in typical 12-year-old fashion. It's important to note that during this time, the most popular 4x4 was made by a brand called Eastsheen. Eastsheen cubes are absolutely horrible by today's standards, but back then were absolute godsends. Eastsheen cubes were super fast, like not even borderline uncontrollable. I'm talking one flick and you're doing a U100. They also had purple stickers instead of orange because of a trademark that Rubik's was trying to and unsuccessfully enforce, which was a little weird, but hey, it was either that or the ball core Rubik's 4x4. One day on one of our regular Skype calls, Paul decided to let me in on his little secret. He had a screw spring structure Eastsheen 4x4. Now, this was great for him because the addition of the springs slowed down the turning just enough to make the cube more controllable, and the springs obviously made the cube actually have some sort of corner cutting ability. I was pretty shocked when Paul told me that he had made the screw spring structure 4x4 by cutting and installing springs he took from a common household pen. It felt like I was already out of my chair and digging through my mom's pen drawer before Paul could even finish his sentence, and before you knew it, I too had a screw spring structure Eastsheen 4x4. Me being, well, me, decided to skateboard over to my neighborhood market and buy 6 of the exact same clickiest pens that I could find. Not just any pen, it had to be nice and clicky with a good snap. You know the one. After installing the springs, my 4x4 became the talk of the town. The one thing that I had going for me back then was that I was the equivalent of what JPerm is today in the cubing YouTuber world. Maybe not that popular, but still I was pretty well known and was even up for consideration to be one of the 5 awesome cubers. Comment below if you know what that even is. Once Paul decided that us mass producing and selling these 4x4s through my freshly built store, SpeedCubeShop, was not going to be feasible for 2 new freshman students in high school, he gave me his graces to publish our secret to all 9,174 people that watched my modification tutorial video as of today. I think that very same 4x4 is somewhere in the depths of my old closet at my mom's house, and I really hope that someday I can revisit that cube and remember all the good times I had using it. This is why I can't help but chuckle when I hear new cubers complaining about the corner cutting of something like a MGC 4x4. They have no idea how good they have it. It's been super cool to be a part of the cubing community for as long as I have been, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the future holds for SpeedCube hardware.